Hi! Final Fantasy XIV just held its FanFest keynote, so let's not waste any time. Right before the keynote even started, the team dropped a brand new extended trailer for the upcoming expansion Evercold. This trailer gave us our first real look at the frozen fourth reflection of the source, the massive airships people are living on now, and a few new characters we hadn't seen before, including one of the key figures in this story. We're also getting our first tease that the Warrior of Light is going to leave Eorzea behind entirely and become what's being called the Far Wanderer. By the end of this video, you're going to know everything that came out of this keynote, from the new job to the new areas to the big system changes coming to the game. If you're appreciating this type of content, gently tap that like button. Let's get into it. So the thing everybody's been waiting for is the new job, and we finally got it. It's called the Bastion. Right away, here's the breakdown so you know exactly what you're looking at. The Bastion is a main tank. Its action mode is evolved only, meaning unlike some other jobs, it doesn't split between a reborn and an evolved version. It's evolved from the start. Its main weapon is a dual-wield shield called the Skyltborg. And here's the part that makes this job stand out. The Skyltborg isn't one shield, it's two, which is something Final Fantasy has never done before. The starting level for the Bastion is 90 and the starting location for its job quest line is Limsa Lominsa. So if you're planning to be one of the first people picking this up, that's where you'll want to be locked in when the servers come back up. As for how it plays, the Skyltborg shields aren't just for blocking damage, they actually transform mid-battle, and when you shift into a ranged stance, they turn into what's basically a shield gun. So instead of just being a melee-only tank, the Bastion can switch between close-up combos and ranged shield gun attacks depending on how the fight calls for it. On top of that, protection isn't just for the Bastion itself, the job can also target party members directly, with its own healing and defensive abilities. So it's not just soaking hits, it's actively covering the people around it too, just like the Paladin. Visually, the design looks awesome, and honestly, it's unlike anything we have seen in Final Fantasy XIV before, because this isn't a variation on an existing job archetype. This is a fully unique job being added to the game. And I know a lot of you are already asking, what about the second job? Here's the thing. We don't officially know yet, but there's a clue worth pointing out. In the extended trailer we saw a new character casting a spell we haven't seen before, and it's possible that a hint pointing towards the new GPS job. Nothing's confirmed, the actual reveal is being saved for Tokyo later this year, but keep that spell in mind, because it might end up being our first real look at job number 2. With the job out of the way, let's talk about where we actually going to play all of this. Since the world below has frozen over, people didn't just disappear, they took the skies. They built massive airships to survive on, and collectively these are called the 5 firmaments. We got a proper look at 2 of them during the keynote. First up is Naglfar, the realm ship of water. This one's actually further along in development than the others, and you can already tell just how much detail is going into it. Since it's themed around water, the elements show up constantly across the environment, and the whole area has this atmosphere that feels genuinely lived in, rather than just a floating platform in the sky. Naglfar is also home to a brand new town called Falgarth. Falgarth sits inside its own kind of protective barrier, almost like a dome, which makes sense when you think about the fact that it's in the middle of an apocalyptic down below. There's a market area, some airship landing docks nearby, and just generally a lot going on visually. So this is clearly going to be one of the major hubs once Evercold launches. The second area is Huringhouni, the realm ship of fire, and this one looks exactly how you'd expect a fire-themed realm ship to look. Think foundries, rivers of molten metal, a much hotter and harsher looking environment compared to Naglfar. Even the protective dome look is different here compared to what we have seen in Falgar. So it's clear the team is putting real thought into making each of the firmaments feel distinct from another, rather than just reuse the same visual language across every ship. Between these 2 areas alone, you can already tell Evercold is trying to make each realm ship feel like its own unique piece of the world, not just a reskin of the last one. And by the way, who thought about these names? They're absolutely terrible to say, holy moly. If you also think that, please leave a comment down below. They also change how you progress through the main story quest. Up until now, every player has gone through the main scenario in the exact same order. Area A, then B, then C, then D. No exceptions. That's changing in 8.0. Here's how it works. Everyone starts the same way, going through a shared opening in the first area. After that, instead of being locked into one fixed path, you get 3 areas that you can tackle in whatever order you want. Want to do the third one first, then loop back to the first, then finish with the second? That's completely fine. Somebody else might do it in a totally different order, and that's the whole point. Once you've cleared all 3 in whatever order you picked, the story merges back into a single path for everyone, so nobody's missing out on a major plot moment. And there's no version where the story branches off into something completely different. It's more about the order you experience things in, not the outcome. Honestly, this is kind of a smart move on their part too, because it means players are going to be sharing information with each other. You might gone in one order and seen something before your friend did, and they saw something else first. So there's this whole new layer of conversation and discovery that comes out of this, just letting people choose their own path. But obviously this creates a problem. If everyone's tackling these areas in different orders, there's going to be a big difference in their job levels. But they thought about it, and they're creating a new auto-balancing system. For the fields and dungeons affected by this branching structure, this game will automatically adjust enemy difficulties in real time based on each player's actual current level. So it doesn't matter what order you went in or what level you happen to be at when you show up, content adjusts itself around you and your party on the fly. It's generally one of those systems that's probably going to make more sense once people are actually playing it, but the idea is simple: choose your own path and let the game handle keeping things fair behind the scenes. They are also personalizing how you see your characters, and their big new feature is called action skins. Right now, when your character does something like teleport, everyone sees the exact same animation. That's changing in Evercold. The team showed off variations for these general actions using teleportation as the example, where you'll actually be able to choose a different animation for the same action. So teleporting is still teleporting, but the way it looks when you do it becomes something you can customize. And this isn't just limited to general actions either. They are mentioned this is going to be extended to selected jobs actions too, things like certain attacks and casting motions. Depending on your job, you might get some visual choice there as well. The whole point is to let your character feel more like your character, instead of everyone performing the exact same motion no matter who they play. On top of that, they also introduced new character traits that you'll be able to toggle on and off whenever you want. So instead of your character being locked into one fixed look or behavior, you get some actual control over these traits, turning them on if you want that specific detail, or off if you'd rather go without it. It's another step in the same direction as the action skins. More freedom, more customization, less of a one-size-fits-all approach to how your character looks and feels while you're playing. From there, the Keynote moved into a batch of quality of life and content updates, and there's a good amount packed into this one. The team is working on an auto-run quest feature, so instead of manually walking or riding to your quest, the game can automatically move there for you. And to be clear, this is a completely optional thing. If you're actually enjoying the journey and you want to keep navigating there yourself, nothing is forcing you to use it. Bigger than that though, they are adding a brand new raid difficulty. Right now, raid content comes in 2 flavors, normal and savage, and there's a massive gap between them. The normal one was cleared around 85% of the player base, while the savage is only cleared about 15% of the players. That's a huge drop-off, and the new difficulty tier is specifically there to close that gap. This new tier sits between normal and savage and is aimed at around extreme level. This difficulty is aimed at less experienced players who are trying to get into harder content, and instead of jumping straight into savage, they can use this difficulty. The most important part is, if you're already a savage raider, you can just simply ignore this new difficulty. Nothing about it is required. You can just keep progressing exactly the way we always have. As for the rewards, clearing the new difficulty gets you a new type of gear called season gear. This gear can be upgraded over time, but is intentionally kept below the power of the actual savage gear. The point isn't to replace savage rewards. It gives newer or less experienced players a stronger starting point if they eventually want to step up to savage. They've also announced the date when they want to test the new regional player matchmaking. The plan is to start testing on October 12th on the Japanese servers. Once these are stable and no issues are there, they're going to expand it to the other regions. So hopefully before 8.0 we get it. They also showed us new screenshots from the upcoming dungeons, gears and bosses of Evercold. They kept it a little bit secret because they didn't want to spoil the main story, but they showed us a few things. Gear-wise, they also showed off some new specific job designs too. But the part worth focusing on here is the new Chocobo Companion Overhaul, because this is genuinely a big change. Right now, Chocobos are just mostly a companion you just summon out in the open world and you just fight with them. But starting from patch 8.1 onwards, that expands in a real way, because you'll actually be able to bring your Chocobo into dungeons with you. So if you're 2 players doing a duty, you both can bring your Chocobo, so you're back to 4 people, which is great. To make that work properly, they are going to rework a couple of things behind the scenes. First, the Chocobo breeding system needs an overhaul, since it wasn't originally built with this kind of dungeon combat in mind. And second, they're reworking how you actually command Chocobo in battle. So you have more control over what it's doing instead of just kind of relying there on the background what happens. I personally think this is a great feature for new players that don't have friends yet in the game, so they can just play with 1 or 2 friends in a dungeon and their Chocobo. Now here's the one nobody saw coming. The new raid tier is themed around Final Fantasy VII, and it's called Beyond the Lifestream. This will launch with the start of patch 8.01, and all 3 difficulties, normal and the new in-between tier we just talked about, and Savage. This isn't just a reference or a skin either, this is a full partnership with the Final Fantasy VII Remake development team. So the level of detail and care going into the crossover should be a cut above a typical guest collaboration. And as if that wasn't enough, they dropped a surprise on top of the raid announcement. There's a brand new section of the Gold Saurcer coming that's fully Final Fantasy VII themed. And here's the fun part. They're adding a keyboard typing minigame to it. Yeah, a typing minigame? And apparently this format is designed in a way that it could expand to other games or brands down the line, which is honestly a pretty funny idea when you think about it. And RIP controller players. To kick the whole thing off, players will be able to get Tifa's outfit and Barrett's outfit as a glamour, and even Barrett's handgun, which is being added purely as a fashion accessory. So no, you're not going to be firing it in combat, but at least you're gonna have a fashion accessory outside of combat. Final Fantasy XIV is officially coming to Nintendo Switch, and it's launching on August 4th. When it drops, you'll get a 1-month free trial to check it out, and after that, it moves on into a full release. Pre-orders actually went live right after the keynote wrapped up, so if you've been wanting to play on Switch, or you know someone who has, the window is already open. And for anyone who loves physical merch, they closed things out by showing off the collector's edition for Evercold, and it's stacked. You're getting a figure, keychain, a plush, a tapestry, and a special art box to hold it all. On top of the physical goodies, there are also 3 in-game items included with this edition. And the good news is you don't have to buy the full physical version just to get those, since they're also available through the digital collector's edition if you rather skip the merch and just grab the in-game items. And that's generally everything from the keynote. We got a new job, new areas, a completely restructured main story, a new raid difficulty, Chocobo changes, a full Final Fantasy VII crossover raid, a Switch release, and a standard collector's edition. Honestly, one of the busiest FanFest keynotes we've gotten in a while. If you want more, the next stop is Tokyo, where FanFest continues on October 31st and November 1st. And that's where we are expecting the second new job to finally get revealed. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.